This video is going to be about how to set up some of the basics when you're starting a new project file. I'm going to probably cover outline coding and a little bit of information about value lists and how to populate some of the text fields and set those up initially if you're not using a pre-formatted project. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to open up Microsoft Project 2007. As you can see, we're working with a blank project file here. So the first thing I'm going to do for this project is create a start and a finish milestone. Those are going to be activity numbers 1 and 2. So start, finish, I'm going to designate they are a milestone by putting 0-day duration. And now I'm ready to begin. When you first set up your outline coding, you need to determine what your text fields are going to be used for. Typically on these sorts of projects, text field 1 is going to be responsibility. So I'll change that. I'll rename it. I also want to make some changes to the value list here. So I'm going to use a lookup table. And under data entry options, I want to allow additional items to be entered into the fields. So this means that anything that I type in here, those values will be added to the lookup list, meaning this table right here. I'll show what that looks like. I'm going to check that box, close, OK. So the responsibility for these key milestones is always 0-key milestone. That makes sure that it shows up at the top of the project file. Now if I check the value list, you can see the key milestones there. It doesn't necessarily enter a description in there. That's going to be used for something else once we get some activity owners' names in. So I'm going to drag this down, fill down for start and finish. Now, depending on the work breakdown structure for this project, you're going to use the other text fields for different purposes. There is a guideline for that. Text 2, for example, is your service line or functional area, depending on what terminology you want to use. And this is going to correspond to the scope table that you have, or the scope matrix that you have in the project charter. So I'm going to go ahead and enter that in as well. Right click, customize fields, rename text 2 as service line. Text 3 I'm going to call deliverable. Text 4 you can use for sub-deliverable if you need to go down that far. And then for each of these, I need to make sure that it's got the same characteristics as the responsibility, the text 1 field. So I want additional items to be entered into the fields. So that's easily done. So this is the activity entry view, and this is the easiest view to make those sorts of changes from. This is the default view you're going to get when you open up the project file. If you want the Gantt chart view, you just need to go under View and select Gantt chart. And what we see here are those 2 milestones that we've already entered into the plan, start and finish, and then our responsibility, duration, start and finish fields. That's pretty much a basic introduction for how to get the project set up, and at this point, you know, it's been maybe a minute or two, without explanation to get this far, and I can pretty much immediately get into populating the project plan with activities, and now I've set up my outline code structure so that I can start to do some grouping and pretty much jump immediately into some planning with the project team. This is a pretty quick way to get started if you've got an ad hoc planning session, and then you can copy these activities into the pre-formatted PMO template file and get that going under the with all the bells and whistles of a full project schedule. So this has just been a basic introduction, and in the next couple of videos we're going to take it a bit further.